So this is a chance to have a bit of a sit-down chat, all about the first trimester, really. So that is now over for me. I'm through it, and can I say thank the Lord. So my name is Emma. I'm currently going through my first pregnancy. At the time of filming this, I'm 16 weeks pregnant. I was hoping to film this at about 13, 14 weeks, but things kind of got in the way, which I'll update you on at the end of my second trimester. But I found when I first discovered I was pregnant, there had been all this planning of how to try and get pregnant. It wasn't the easiest conception for us, which is a whole other video. And I kind of had focused on getting pregnant and on the end bit, like particularly the labour and actually getting the baby. But the bit in the middle, other than a little bit of sickness, it'd never really been talked about. And I also discovered when I first got pregnant that no matter what I Googled, I was either coming up with all these horrific things, or it was actually just talking to my friends about what I was going through and how I was feeling. And it was only then that a few of them went, oh yeah, I had that. Oh yeah, I had that. But even then, some of them said, no, I didn't have that. And you then begin to wonder, oh God, is this normal? Is this not? So I was just thinking, what if you haven't got anybody that you can actually talk to? This is by no means saying this is what every single first trimester is like. This is just my account of my first trimester, and whether that is because my future daughter, if I'm having a girl, might see this, and we may never ever get a chance to talk about things, or you never know what's going to happen in the future, as morbid as that sounds, or whether you're looking for some reassurance that what you're feeling is normal, or just to find out what other people's is like, just because you're a bit nosy, and that's me as well. So from the word go, and I will warn you, this video will contain the good, the bad, and the very ugly. So if you're at all squeamish, if at all you do not want to know any gory details, I would switch off from this video right now. But from the word go, my biggest symptom was my chest, in that overnight, and literally from about week 3 or 4, my chest went up 2 bra sizes. So I went from a 34D to a 36D within 2 weeks. Yeah, so that was fairly noticeable for both me and anybody else, because quite a few people commented even though they didn't even know I was pregnant. And that was a massive giveaway for a couple of my friends as well. But with that came, and I think other people get it as well, it's not just because your chest is getting bigger. I think it is just a hormone thing. My chest wasn't just sore, it was literally excruciating. So at the time, my birthday covered, I think I must have been about 5 weeks at that point. So all anybody wanted to do was hug me, which was lovely. But there were a couple of times when literally my eyes watered because it hurt so much. It hurt to walk about the office, just the slight movement. It hurt in the car. It hurt when I was in bed and I rolled over, because I could literally feel them kind of falling with me. That hurt. It hurt just the exertion of having to get up out of bed. And that pretty much lasted till about week 11 for me. It seemed to go on forever. So if you are feeling that, you are not alone in the slightest. Yeah, I was there, and that was awful. The other symptom I got is the bit that I dreaded was sickness. I really did not know how I was going to cope with that. I am the type of person who has 1 glass of wine, will not be drunk in the slightest, but will still have a horrific hangover the next day. So I was thinking, I'm going to suffer this really bad, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to get through it. I hate being sick, as I'm sure loads of people do, but I really, really don't like it, to the point where I'll bring on sweats if I think I'm going to be sick. Oh, excuse me. This is a symptom as well. But I, touch wood, I have to say, actually, I think I got off rather lightly with this. I was only sick once. I went to be sick a second time, but I wasn't. But I was nauseous continually. There wasn't a let up. It was all the time. And the only way I could, it would come in waves, but it was mainly when I was faced with food. So the only way I could describe it to my husband was as if I just had a stomach bug. And you know when you don't fancy food, you don't feel sick, but you just don't fancy food, but you know you're hungry, so you then go to eat something, but just the sight of it and the thought of it and probably the worry of, is this going to make me sick, makes you feel sick to the point where you then can't touch it. And I literally had that probably for the first 8-9 weeks. So for that, my biggest recommendation was Carr's water biscuits. I think they're called table biscuits, water crackers. They're in a blue box, and I still go to them now. And small regular portions, so I literally ate just what I fancied when I fancied. So that might have been a pot of mango at 9:30 in the morning. That's fine. If I can get it down, that was fine. Or it might be some really spicy nuts at 3:30 in the afternoon. Don't care, just get it down. If anything I could get in, and I spoke to my midwife at the 8-week appointment about it, and she kind of said the same. Look, as long as it's none of the stuff that you're not meant to be eating, little and often is okay. The baby will take what it needs, so don't worry about it. There are women like Princess Kate Middleton, who end up with that severe sickness for months and months and months on end, and their babies are absolutely fine. So don't worry, look after yourself, and if that's all you can manage, that is all you can manage. Just stick with that. So yeah, I done. And fizzy drinks were a no-go. Completely went off them. And literally I lived off squash. Tea, I used to love tea. Anyone who knows me will tell you that I can live off tea all day if that's what I need to do. I'd probably have about 8 or 9 cups a day. From the word go, I just could not stomach it. It didn't taste the same. The milk in it made me feel queasy. And I knew in my head, I could remember the taste of what I loved, but that wasn't what was in my mouth. It just tasted completely different. And even now, I've had the odd cup of tea in the last week. So I said, like, I was at 16 weeks, nearly 17 weeks. I've had 3 in the last 2 weeks. And they all have been first thing in the morning, and I have to fancy it. And even then, I don't enjoy it like I used to. I'm just able to stomach it better than I have been. Sorry. What else? Stomach upsets. So basically, your body, in terms of hormones, they're raging around your body, but it's just like you're having a period. So if one of your symptoms just before you came on was having a stomach upset, then it would only be like make reason that you'd have the same kind of symptom when you've got all these hormones charging around your body trying to create a person. And I had that a lot. So right at the beginning, you'd almost think that I had a stomach bug, because I was rushing to the toilet because of my stomach, but I was also feeling nauseous and had gone off food. So yeah, I did look like I was just going through a stomach bug, but I wasn't. These were all symptoms of early pregnancy. Hiccuping. So as you saw just a minute ago, I just get these odd random hiccups. Just the one. and it will come from nowhere, and that is be it. But from what I can gather, it is my body's way of trying to strengthen my diaphragm, ready to try and push the baby out at the end. One of the biggest bits, along with my chest, was that my back hurt so much. So much. So I had backache, so I constantly had a hot water bottle on my back at work. And my stomach was griping really, really bad cramps. And it's actually quite scary when you're going through it, because you think, oh my God, is this the start of something? Should my body really be cramping this much? But yes, you've got to imagine there are things in your body that are having to grow to accommodate this new human being. So things are going to hurt. So your womb is going to be getting bigger. That's what the cramps are. You know, you've got things that are stretching and just like ligaments are moving and things like that. So yeah, so it's okay. It's normal from what I can gather. They were all pretty much the rough bits. Now, for me, they were rough, but probably compared to actually a lot of other people, I think I got off quite lightly. It didn't feel like it at the time, but I think I did. I also got an horrific cold right in the middle, and it probably actually was one of my worst colds of all time, no word of a lie. And it is now at a point where you cannot take any medication. So with that, I got sore throat, earache, chesty cough, and then obviously the streaming nose. But I couldn't take any decongestion. I couldn't take anything to try and clear the chesty cough or to ease my throat. So I was literally living off hot Ribena and a bowl with Vicks Vapor Rub in to try and vaporise and clear through my nasal passages. And that really didn't help me feeling sorry for myself right at the beginning. Moving on to the good part. So I don't know if you'll see, but the tips of my nails are really white, which probably aren't that white for you if you're used to having white tips, but for whatever reason mine don't really go white. They kind of go see-through. It always has been the way. I might get some white patches, but yeah, they're predominantly see-through. So for me to have white tips is amazing. And they're normally really, really flaky, and they haven't been at all since probably about week 4. My hair has always been fine. It's now a lot thicker, and I've noticed that there's a lot less falling out in the bath when I have my morning shower. Normally I'd plug up the plug hole like every single shower, but I haven't been at all. Skin wise, I haven't had any breakouts, which has been amazing. And people have actually commented that they think I do look glowing. I can't see it personally, and especially with this face this evening, so I do apologise. I'm filming this at the end of a long day. But yeah, so I think I am getting benefits in that way. And that has been lovely. And I think that is pretty much... Oh, and then in the last week, I also got heartburn. I've never had heartburn in my life. So Gaviscon, I literally had on tap. I was sucking the pastils like they were fruit pastils. And with a Gaviscon bottle and a straw. Which is all perfectly safe. I checked it with the sonographer when I went, because it'd literally been happening that week. And yeah, and I think that is pretty much a roundup of all trimester 1. Oh, and the tiredness. I didn't mention the tiredness. That is at an all-time level. When people talk about it, I was at the beginning, I was saying, yeah, I feel tired, and then I did. And then it hit. So probably about week 9 through to week 14, I'd say, it really struck. to the point where I don't sit down. I spend my weekends and my evenings herring about, doing housework, doing all sorts, seeing people, doing things. There's always something to be doing. But I actually would have to come home and just sit because I couldn't do anything else. At the weekends, we had quite a few quiet weekends, and I would end up having like a 2-hour nap on the sofa. I haven't napped since I was about 4 years old, I don't think. And they were lovely. But yeah, I just had to. I just physically couldn't do it. I couldn't make myself do it. And that is something, and I'll touch on it now, but I'll do a similar one of these when I get to the end of the second trimester. But that's something I've kind of tried to carry on through the second trimester, not necessarily the napping. I don't need to do that, but rather than having a busy Saturday and Sunday every weekend, unless it's something like we've gone away or there's a, you know, like a one-off, trying to have one day at home so we can just sit on the sofa, I can just potter about, I can get up a bit late, just to try and wind it back a bit, and just taking into consideration that actually things are going to be a bit harder to do, you know, things are going to take its toll on my body, because it's not just me it's trying to look after, it's not just me it's trying to feed, and you know, it's basically doing double of everything. So yeah, it is going to be a bit more tougher, and it's nice, a good excuse, and I feel like I want to be more homely actually as well. I want to be at home more, so that's something I'll take through to the second trimester. But I really hope, if you're in your first trimester, I hope you're doing all right. Count down them weeks, and I know it's really hard because you don't probably even know how far you are until you have your first scan, but keep going towards that first scan. Whatever you're feeling, it is bound to start subsiding after you get that little picture, and when you see that little picture, it honestly makes it all so worthwhile. But yeah, so that is that. Thank you for watching. Have a look at my other videos on the channel. So I'm trying to track my progress for my first pregnancy, and all the major milestones. You can look me up on Facebook and on Instagram. Click subscribe and like the video and do all those nice things. And I'll see you next time. Bye!